Hi everyone, welcome back to another video which I hope would be informative and helpful to many who are on busy schedule, especially working mothers or the ones who has less time to spend in kitchen like nursing mothers, and even to others who are looking for tips and tricks to reduce cooking time. Now I know there are much more ideas and tips than the ones I have shown in this video, but let me begin with this video in which I have shown what I follow because I don't like to preach that I don't practice. Hope you like it. Keep watching. Beginning with the most requested one, the roasted coconut. Now this has been done by many, just showing for those who had highly requested me to show. I'm making in small quantity now just to show you all. I have already made some few days back and kept in the freezer. Now I'm using just one whole coconut grated, adding into a cooking vessel. Then goes turmeric powder, just a little. This is for the color and a mild flavor. Then few curry leaves. Then to this add 1 teaspoon fennel seeds. Now I have seen many adding shallots and garlic. I don't use those for the ones I make for storing, just for the fear that it may spoil. I use only when I'm roasting on the spot for the curry. Make sure you're roasting in very low flame. We need to get that crispy texture of the coconut, so make sure it's in low flame so that it doesn't burn. Once you get it crispy and in a light brown shade, it's ready to take off from heat. Transfer to a plate and let it cool down. Now this is the one I had already prepared few days back. You can either store it this way in a box and keep in the freezer, or the other method, my friend Jessie suggested me to grind the roasted coconut to a fine powder, adding it to a strong blender. It may go like a paste, but it doesn't matter. Store it in a glass container and keep it in the fridge. No need to keep it in the freezer. If the climate is cold enough, you can even keep it outside. Now you can add a spoon or two into your curry, especially for breakfast curries when you don't have time to grate and grind the coconut. But take much care of the spoon that you're using for it. It should be completely dry. There shouldn't be any moisture on it. You can store this for at least 1 month. Now here, when we order Arabic food from restaurants, we get too many packets of pita bread. We wouldn't need everything. So just not to throw away the food, I store them in the freezer. I place a piece of parchment paper or baking paper in between each, just to make it easy while taking out. Add it into a ZIPLOCK bag and place it in the freezer. I have a video on making freezer parathas too. You can check it out on the iCard above or below in my description box. Morning time, take it out, add some butter or ghee onto your pan, place the bread and heat it. It would taste equally good. Make wraps using it. I have some easy wraps coming up. Next is frozen French toast. Make French toast the way you like, or just follow my recipe if you don't know. Into a blender, add 2 or 3 eggs, then some sugar, half teaspoon cinnamon powder, quarter teaspoon cardamom powder, half teaspoon or a pinch of salt. Blend. Add some milk and blend again. Add it into a bowl. Now keep your bread slices ready. To a heated pan, add some butter or ghee. Dip the bread slices in the egg mixture and place on the pan. Cook on both sides for a minute or till it's cooked. Place it on a tray to cool down. Again, placing small pieces of baking paper in between, just like you saw the pita bread. Add it into a Ziploc bag. You can store it as such into the freezer, or for a better organized way, add it into a storage box and keep in the freezer. When you are really in a hurry and don't want a boring bread, just take these out and add it into your toaster. And for me, these tasted much better than the ones made fresh. Now I have seen my mother and aunts doing this. Nowadays I use jaggery in my tea instead of sugar. So I felt that taking a piece and waiting it to melt is a little time consuming. So I followed my mother's steps in this. I melted jaggery in enough water. Now you will need enough water for this because if you add very less water, it becomes thick syrup, and when it cools down it becomes hard and you will have to break it again. So add more water and make it a loose syrup. Strain to remove the impurities. Add it to a glass jar or bottle. You can use it whenever you need, either for tea like how I use, or you can use for any snacks or dishes. Hummus is another one you could use as a dip or spread. It's very simple to make. I use a can of chickpeas. You could even use fresh. Just soak some and boil. Now add this into a food processor or a blender. Then add tahina, around 3 or 4 tablespoons, 2-3 cloves of garlic, squeeze of half lemon, or you could use 2 tablespoons of vinegar, salt, paprika, which is completely optional, and olive oil. For more creaminess, you can add more olive oil and tahina, or just simply add some water to reduce the thickness. Add it into a glass jar or pot and add some olive oil. Now you can store it in the refrigerator. It would stay for at least a week. You can use this as a dip or spread in your sandwich. Now air fryer is something that I would suggest to buy if you need to make some oil-free fries. Here I'm using sweet potatoes. Do check out my video on air fry to know more. You may not get everything the exact taste as of the deep frying, but it saves a lot of time and effort. Like frying chicken takes 20 minutes. You don't need to even turn to the other side. Just keep it for 20 minutes and it's ready. Caramelized nuts can be stored for a very long period in the fridge. I'm using cashews and almonds. You can add pistachios, walnuts, or any nuts of your choice. Keep a baking paper ready. Now into a pan, add 1 cup sugar, 3 to 4 tablespoons of water. Melt in low-medium flame without using a spatula. When it starts changing color, mix it and make it even. Add the nuts. Mix everything well till your desired color. Then pour over the baking paper. Be very careful, it's boiling hot and don't burn yourself anywhere with it. Let it cool down completely. Once cooled down, the sugar syrup would be like a glass, you can break it easily. The nuts can be broken down into pieces with a rolling pin if you add into a Ziploc bag. I just crushed them in a mortar and pestle. You can store it in a glass jar and use these for your desserts. Pickles and chutneys are lifesavers. One such is this tomato chutney, my absolute favorite. All you need to do is wash the tomatoes and wipe it with a kitchen towel. Remove the top part. Slice each tomato into half. Place it in a cooking vessel. Here I've used 6 to 7 large tomatoes. Cook on low flame without adding any water and make sure you don't burn the tomatoes. Just give a toss in between so that it doesn't burn. Meanwhile, wash some green chilies and dried red chilies. Place on a tissue paper and wipe off the excess water. Keep aside. Into another pan, roast a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds or methi seeds. Roast in low flame till it changes its color to a little dark shade. Crush in a mortar and pestle. You can even use a grinder. Then keep aside. Cook the tomatoes till you see that the skin is coming off easily. Add the tomatoes, removing the skin, into a food processor or blender, whichever you prefer. Strain to remove the seeds. Adding it back to the food processor. Add the chilies and blend again. Heat a kadai. I'm using coconut oil here. It's always best to use sesame oil for pickles. I didn't have it with me at that time, so I'm using coconut oil around 1/4 cup. Splutter a teaspoon of mustard seeds. 1/2 teaspoon asafoetida or hing. 3/4 to 1 teaspoon turmeric powder. And then goes the tomato mixture. Mix well till the oil starts to ooze out from the sides. Then add the ground fenugreek seeds and 1/4 teaspoon of asafoetida again. Then salt as per your taste and mix well. Store it in a glass jar. Have it with your parathas. I could have rice with just 2 tablespoons of this pickle alone. Now if you're using coconut oil just like me, when you keep in the refrigerator, the oil may get hard, so I take out the needed quantity and heat it. Now this chicken biryani is a traditional recipe from my grandmother and tip from my mother-in-law to make it in a pressure cooker. So it's a clubbed one. Here I'm making 3 cups of basmati rice. So boil double the amount of water minus 1 cup. So I have taken 5 cups of water. Add salt and a tablespoon of ghee. When water starts boiling, add washed and drained basmati rice. Let it cook in low flame till the rice is almost cooked and the water is completely absorbed. Meanwhile, I had chopped 4 medium-sized tomatoes, sliced 3 medium-sized onions, ginger, garlic and green chilies. Grind the ginger, garlic and green chilies in a blender. Keep an eye on the rice. Into a pressure cooker, add everything including 1 kilo chicken pieces, then goes 1 teaspoon black pepper powder, half to 1 teaspoon turmeric powder, 1 tablespoon coriander powder, salt, 1 teaspoon garam masala powder. Meanwhile, the rice is cooked and no water remains. Just give a mix to the rice and keep aside. Add chopped coriander leaves. You can add mint leaves too. Squeeze well with your hands. Then add 1 cup curd and just level it. Then on top, add the cooked rice. Sprinkle some garam masala powder. Cover the pressure cooker. Cook in medium-high flame for 3 to 4 minutes and then lower the flame to very low and cook for 30 minutes. Now this biryani I make just before going gym around at 9 and I go at 10:30 to the gym. Then I open the lid only after coming back. So this recipe would be good for those who go for work in the morning and come back lunchtime. If you see some extra water under, that's in the gravy, just take out all the rice and heat till water evaporates. Now these are the tips and recipes that I follow to reduce or save time. Hope you all found it informative. If so, please give a thumbs up and don't forget to share among the ones who need these in their life. If you really need more of such kinds, do comment below so that I would know and can continue with these types. And please do subscribe if you haven't yet, pressing the bell icon for getting notifications on my updates. See you soon. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.